This is the End Evil podcast, where we speak raw truth. The aim is to impress you about the value of your time on this planet, to shine a light on the most important truth that has been obscured for too long, to give you the information and knowledge necessary to make true change, to move human experience away from suffering and grief and towards love and joy. Let's begin to work towards the end of all evil. Every week, we dig into natural law, trauma programming, and the mechanisms of societal control. We replace ignorance with knowledge, fear with courage, and apathy with action. As Jeremy Locke said, evil is the destruction of freedom. Go to endevil.life. Welcome, friends. This is an episode of the One Great Work Warriors. My name's Chris Jansen. I'm here with Brandon, Derek, Crip Rick, Jim, and Jerry, and we're here to discuss the Freedom Under Natural Law Conference, the fifth of its kind, which, has been an exciting event for me to be part of. And today's a great day for the Warriors to get their opportunity to break it down and their experience watching some of the presentations and their takeaways. So I'm going to kick it off for the group and just thank the Warriors for we had a slight hiatus recently in our meetings to make a little room, partly at my own request, to get my presentation and everything ready for Funl. There was a lot to do, and so we had a little time, and it's really good to hang out with each other again after taking some time off. And I always appreciate the reflections of this group, not only from their life and their experiences of the world and life, but from the conference or shows I do or podcasts, because any type of reflection, any type of feedback helps work on what comes next, what is the next creation, what is the next iteration or process or way to go about talking about natural law, about introducing, encouraging a better future for humanity, where we're not, reproducing evil. We're not stealing from one another. We're working towards understanding objective morality. What we call objective morality is the inherent universal principles that guide all human interactions, right? That's what we call natural law. And that's what the whole conference is based on. That's what all my online work has been based on for the past 5 years. And, every day and every creative endeavor I put forward is another opportunity to try to say things more succinctly, to try to say things in a way that others might hear them. And what's interesting is I'm always talking to people in the outside world, people I love, acquaintances, people I work with, people I do business with, and to varying degrees, is going to be the depth of these conversations. But I've noticed that with this process of creating a presentation, for instance, or speaking on a podcast, I've found ways to speak to people in a way that is more back and forth, like a tennis game. They'll say something and I say something, where there were times in history where I felt like I got stuck a lot on my own emotion or the other person getting triggered and their emotion. And so it's been a frustrating process to learn to talk about these terribly important topics, which I look around every day and I go, how do people not talk about freedom? I mean, how do people not talk about natural law? What else is there to talk about? It's my world. So, what I say for me, the biggest takeaway from Freedom Under Natural Law Conference of all of them has been this reflection through all these different amazing individuals and seeing how they reflect the exact same sentiment that I'm trying to reflect. And that resonance means a lot to me and my will and energy to keep trying to do the work I'm doing. And it shouldn't. You know, I wish I was just a warrior and I was just going to work full strength no matter what, and I didn't care about what anyone else thought, what anyone else said, and that'd be the best. But I'm a human being, and I really appreciate the perspectives of other people and hearing all the different perspectives from this last conference, especially like the feminine voices, how different they are, and how their carrying approach, and even the tone of voice and the way they present themselves, and then just to, you know, we got some people like my presentation that was super like simple, you know, basic, you know, and then Nate, who gives you this more kind of complex symbolistic myriad of things to think about that are more challenging, you know, and you know, like that balance of the different ways that people present, is it puts together an awesome puzzle. And anyway, I said I wasn't going to talk too much about it because I've already talked about funnel a lot, and it was a great experience and I'm still feeling good about it. But I'm also looking for things to improve, that we can do better for next year with funnel 6, and that's all going to be in the work. So I want to thank Jim Adams was working behind the scenes, and he's real humble. He's like, oh, I didn't do much, but he helped me a lot. He helped our whole funnel crew. He showed up for us a lot. He worked on the website from the back end. And so, Jim, why don't you talk about funnel and your experience being involved?
Well, thanks, Chris. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. So yeah, it's really cool to be to see you guys in action, and really see you put it together. And when I first came across Funnel, it was Funnel 2, and that's how I was looking for other people who were speaking about natural law, and then that Funnel 2 conference came up, and so, ever since then, uh, been watching it grow over the years, and it's been really like I definitely could see like the evolution of it. This one has been the best for sure, and the variety and the production quality and the more number of guests of presenters and that. So it's been cool to see the progression of that, and like I said earlier, like to see and hear you guys playing it, like, and Will does so much, and he's really good on that tech end of things, so big props to him for putting it together, too. He's not here, and Leslie, I just was watching her presentation, and I was feeling a little heavy talking about that inner work was getting to me, right? That's like, of everything that there is that everyone's talking about, we're all talking about the same thing, but like Rick will always say, that's like the number one thing. It's got like our own, inner work. So she was getting me with that. And here, Chris and Brandon, I had watched your guys' presentation on the first day, and as always, really cool. Um, I don't remember it all, to be honest with you, because I remember the horse analogies or whatever that stuck out the most for me, and I feel like, I'm really good at beating that dead horse, like, I've been questioning myself a lot lately about what I'm doing, even though it's like the point is to, like, be a broken record, but I don't know, man, it's like Chris, like, you also mentioned recently about doing something else, right? Like, of a higher quality and in a different direction. So I'd like to see where that takes you. Maybe that'll take you um, somewhere next year. And Derek, so I like how you do things different. You go outside and you bounce around and you're in all different locations, and it's cool, man. I don't know too much about the Lord of the Rings, so I wasn't following it all, but that's cool how you do that. It's different. Um, but I said we were gonna like just like name a couple that stuck out for us. So, uh, for me, because I'm into like the local food movement and that, I was curious to see Cynthia Mitchell go. And yeah, man, I like what she was saying is like what I was saying like 10 years ago. I started with that. Like, we have to do this, we have to do that. And then I ran into all kinds of problems with the government and the local consciousness and trying to form community and that. So I got frustrated. And from there, I discovered natural law and realized that that's got to come first, the inner work, right? The consciousness, um, understanding morality and all that. Um, but all the along the top while I've been still out there doing that outside work, and managing a CSA and creating a food forest and always, encourage people to do that as well. And and she brought up a lot of good points about, just awareness about the food systems and, and geoengineering and all other topics as well. And I struggle with that though. It's like creating community if that's really gonna help because I don't see it. If I created a community in my neighborhood and it should hit the fan, we'll be just screwed. Like I just see like how we have to um, work on educating moral education first. But like I said, I struggle with it because at the same time, building community, it can't hurt to do it anyway. I think, Uh, but yeah, that's cool because that's more in my wheelhouse. So I'll bring that up. Um, and a few others. I like Dan Arnold. Like his was just raw, and he's just sitting there talking, and there was like a lot of some space in between his words, but he had my attention. I just thought it was cool. So I thought I'd mention him real quick. Um, what did I forget? I like the Soul Expression, his production of things. That was like really cool. I didn't see it all either, but it's like he took it to like he really had a high quality production going on, really cool imagery and all that. Um, but there was a couple others. I don't know where my clicking on it, but I did want to mention Nate Cap for sure. That was the most inspirational one. I was telling you guys last week about how at my garden I had made a circle, and it's about a 10 to 12 foot round circle with a 12 to 15 foot locust pole in the middle, where I put a crystal on top. And I did that like 3 years ago, and I planted like blueberries and elderberries and hazelnuts all around it, and they've been growing in and but I haven't done anything in the middle, and I intended to, but so that and it's just been sitting because I've been busy with other stuff. But anyway, that inspired me like that. I got that circle dot, that big physical representation of the circle dot in my garden, and I know like I've done shit like that anyway with sacred geometry all around the farm with pyramids too, but like, so I see myself making a spiral out of rocks on the ground. I don't know if I would get it to go up, but been coming up with ideas about that. And I shared it with one of my friends who's really into sacred geometry. And uh, so he's probably watching it right now because he said he was going to watch it tonight. But I just thought that was really cool. So I'm going to be making a big cone at the farm. But yeah, he got me with I've been struggling a lot with that solar abandonment this winter, and he spoke about that for a little bit and the solar messiah and how that kind of fetish led to the government and kind of he touched upon that a bit. I like that and the Holy Trinity aspect of it. Like I could see myself actually talking about these things in this cone garden that I'm going to create. So I hope to like teach that, like what he's what his the Oculus, the sacred cone, about when people come in here, because people do ask me, they're like, "Why is that there?" And I'm just like, "Oh, these are just things that happen with me." I just like the universe told me to do it or whatever. But so that's basically it, man. Like everyone was great, and I'll give uh, you guys a chance to speak about the others and what you liked. So, how about Rick?
I knew you were gonna pick me. I really did. I was like, he's gonna nail me because before we started, we all picked Jim to go. But yeah, very cool. Always been a fan of Funnel, and I'm kind of like you, Jim. I kind of go back to Funnel too, and and I gotta first kick off by saying like a big shout out to you guys have touched on this. Everybody who makes this happen. And I always think of, and I've had the privilege of seeing behind the scenes of what goes into even putting on this funnel conference. And it's a lot of networking, it's a lot of weekly meetings that the planners and the organizers are doing. Like, I really want people to understand that what goes on behind the scenes to make things happen that you guys see the final product of. And that's always amazed me how everybody kind of comes together to make this amazing conference happen. And it's just the artwork and all of this is so planned and so scrutinized, and copies are made and then talked about and stuff. There's just so much that goes into planning this, not just from the funnel side of things, the organizers, but even all of the presenters. And we have a few of them on panel today, obviously. And having what I love about funnel as well is it's always been a strong point. I think of funnel is it gives people an opportunity who have maybe never done a presentation, never put their music out there, their artwork, whatever it is. And that's a big part of funnel is actually the art and the music, which I love. I'm a musician, so I'm and an artist, so I'm very drawn to that aspect of it. I love that fact. But as I was saying, what is really cool about Funnel is that it gives people the opportunity who've maybe never done a presentation to actually give it a try. That's certainly the case with me when I did my very first presentation ever on shadow work, because shadow work is something I love talking about. I think I keep saying, and I know it to be true, that that's the foundation of what we talk about. You have to do that work on yourself. I'm not going to keep ranting about it because, like Jim said, you start sounding like a broken record, but it's important. Most important, I think, is the work on yourself before uh, anything else can really take place. And it's ongoing work. I'm certainly ongoing. At least I can speak for myself. It's a really at times a struggle, and other times it's not. But it's definitely every day ongoing. So I think that's so important, and that's really cool about Funnel is giving people like me who never done it a platform to actually do it. And I think that's unique, and I think it's very, very special and something that is unique to Funnel. And I agree with what Jim was saying that you can see the progress too, which is so cool. I loved growth is amazing. And to see from the first funnel to what, funnel five is just you can just see the growth. And I was telling all of these guys before we hit record, I said, like, I haven't been able to catch all of them because things have been going on. So I do have it planned in the next couple of days. I'm going to actually watch all of the presentations. I just wasn't able to do it be there live, but I will definitely will check them out. And I was trying to check in when I could. And I was first thing I was telling these guys is the quality was just amazing, and some like the slides and the information that was being presented was really, really good. And so to see that growth, I love it. I think that's what we're here for, right? Growth, learning, and it's just a special thing. And so funnel's really amazing. And I'm already excited to see what comes up for the next one. And the fact that they've done five is something special. I think about that even with the One Great Work Warriors here, the fact they were, consistent, and consistency is seems to be in these days getting a little tougher. Like it's hard to keep things together. Groups fall apart usually very quickly, and it just things kind of go off the rails. But to be here for five, the fifth funnel, consistently is amazing. And the fact that Warriors have been meeting this long and doing videos has been amazing. All these things are a testament to will, and you can make these things happen if you're willing to put in the work. And so I gotta try to keep that in mind when I do when I'm working on myself, right? It's a little bit, you gotta be a little definitely persistent working on yourself. So yeah, I just want to say that's what I just wanted to say. I think it was a really amazing event, and I'm looking forward to actually being able to check out all the presentations. I saw a little bit of Brandon's, which was great. I was telling Brandon, like, I love some of the color. The information was great, Brandon, obviously, but even your color selection on some of your slides, it was and I think that's important. um it's certainly important in music, right, and art and stuff. You want to catch people's eyes, so if your slides are really cool and they catch your eye, which yours did, I was like, wow, I just love the colors that you chose. Simple, but it important nonetheless. Sometimes simple is important. And it was really well done, and I love Leslie's work, of course, because as you said, Jim, she talks a lot about the inner work and working on yourself. I think it's so important, as I just said. I'm not going to keep repeating it, but I've had some great interviews over the years with Leslie talking about, trauma and healing from your traumas and doing the work on yourself. So I'm really looking forward to catching all of hers, because I know they're important, as all of them are, as all of them are. And before I'll just wrap up, I think it's so cool, Derek. Music is your thing. I love it. And you touched on the Lord of the Rings topic. Awesome. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so a little poetry is always good. Spoken word, I love, and poetry, a big fan of. So there, that's my thoughts for whatever they're worth. And I'll probably do a radio show once I watch all the presentations, and I can let all you guys know. And you can reach out to me if you want, and ask me when that'll happen. But I will definitely do a radio show talking about my favorite presentations and all of the stuff that goes along with that. So just give me a couple days to get back on the tracks here and watch them all. But I did catch a few of them. They were cool from what I saw, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm babbling, and I'm done, and I will pass it on to Brandon.
Thanks, Rick. And also thank you to all of the organizers, of Funnel. I remember when Funnel 1, was announced, because I've watched all of them. It's getting harder and harder to sit in the chair for 12 hours. The buns start hurting. But yeah, that's a sacrifice, so, thank you to all of the organizers for making that sacrifice. Because I have all of them playing on my live stream. Can't wait to download Funnel 5 and add them to the live stream. But yeah, like Rick said, just seeing the progress, from Funnel 1 to 2, 3, 4, and 5, and just seeing it grow, because that's one thing that I try to, take in is just, embodying all of the information and, how the community and the love. You got Will, behind the scenes, hence the name, he's working his magic, he's working the turntables, he's willing things in action. And, you got Chris, Chris, doing the stuff behind the scenes. He wanted to take time off from the group to, focus on that, totally understand them. And then you got Leslie, hell, she's always bringing that strong feminine energy, hell, reminding us to do the inner work. Then you got Derek, Derek bringing the trickster energy, as always, so you have a great mix of flavors and, much respect, because I don't know what it's like to, put on a online conference. Don't want to know what it is to, to do that kind of work. But I know, these men and women have sacrificed, hell, I've seen it. So, but one thing that I have taken from all of the funnel conferences is the importance of family and community. We're all scattered, all over this planet, and we may find it difficult to talk to individuals about these certain truths. But whenever there is an online conference like Funnel, it gives us that time to come together and share that positive energy and share the love and the actual knowledge, in the online community. And, kind of almost like a kind of family dynamic. Because Will's always talking about, Funnel is about showcasing, your artwork. And that's what it has, grown to be, because at first it was just, her presentations. Then you added music, then you added dance. And then like now you have all forms of art. So it's almost like it's kind of become like this kind of online, family, hell event, because you have the live music, you have you have the laughter now. You had Logan Paul. I'm sorry, I said Logan Paul. You had Logan. Bringing in the comedy and all of his hell impersonations, which were good, and like literally had me dying laughing. Then you had the live music, you had the multitude of presentations. So yeah, you had just artwork being showcased, from different individuals, and that's one thing too that I've loved in Funnel is it's a way for you to showcase your artwork and let that be shown to the world. So that's what it's all about. And the one presentation that really stood out to me was Tyler Bloyler's, her presentation, because the technological component is something that has been here. It's not going away. The whole AI stuff is not going away. It's been shoved in our faces. And, like, what are we doing as far as, ignoring man's consciousness and ethical side? And we are leaving that at the doorstep, and we are putting the so-called technological progress, steps ahead of our own, moral components. And what is that leading to? Like, what is the end game goal? And that's something that we are all kind of facing today. That's something we're all seeing with the whole rise of artificial intelligence. And, like, what's this leading to? Like more control, more of a, technotonic, police state. So where is all of this, going? Because we are definitely leaving morality and consciousness at, like at the door. And that's one of the elephants in the room that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Like they're talking about all of this AI stuff and just shoving it in our faces and building all these, like AI data centers. But it's like, where is all of this going? Is this leading toward more freedom, or is it leading toward more control? So those are questions that we really should be, asking ourselves. But yeah, the whole community aspect, because sometimes it may be hard to build a community in your own personal life, but at least when you have these online conferences like Funnel, um, it gives you a little bit of hope, that there are, other like-minded, you know, individuals who are doing, have this work, who do care, who are willing to sacrifice, who are willing to donate, and, willing to put in, have that time. And when you have these kind of, health events, if you are out there, if you want to, help get involved, you want to support, you can always, create posters, you can always create all forms of advertisements, you can create little, how compilations, how just stuff that, how can be used to showcase to, spread this knowledge and spread this message. But one thing I would like to see in the future is some more new presenters. More new presenters, you know. Like I never thought that I would be speaking in any funnel, and I've already spoken, I think, in three of them. But yeah, it's always nice seeing some new presenters. And like Rick said, like this is a way for you to, try something new. He'll get your hands in something new. But yeah, new presenters are always wonderful, especially when it comes to natural law. And I always look forward to seeing, what new creations are going to be put out there, in the form of presentations, in the form of artwork, dance, comedy, um, whatever. Just showcase your art. And that's what Funnel is all about, is the infinite creation is funneling down into all of us. And then we are putting that back out into the world, by trying to ignite and showcase, what we have. Jerry, yep.
Thank you. You got me thinking like Crypt Rick, just the work, just getting started and just starting a presentation and then finishing it. That creative process must be one of a kind that can't be replicated in a sense. So it's almost you gain something invaluable. That's what it sounds like. But from the receiving end of it, it's definitely a gift. I would say that watching these conferences, you're going to gain something. It's always a net positive. And of course, only those that aren't serious about, say, morality are not going to watch it. But I agree with what you said, Brandon, with the community aspect, because I do think it's important to be there for one another in a sense, not babysitting, but just, hey, we're fucking here. Like, let's show some love to each other. And oh shit. Okay. Am I cutting out? No. All right.
Nah, yeah, you good.
All right. I got thrown off. Nah, but yeah, I mean, the community is very important, and yeah, it's good to have some laughter, you know, sometimes. I like the comedy aspect that was brought into it. That's the first thing that comes to mind. And yeah, it's just a creative process. It's okay. There's the philosophy and then the creative process. So I'm thinking number 6 is going towards that to, hey, how can we make this more creative? How can we sort of spread this word more? And I'm looking forward to it. It's just, yeah, there's so many possibilities out there of what can be done. So you never know. Someone may come across this information and create a presentation, and we're all like, oh my God, this is great. And it's super inspirational for sure. I mean, yeah, just even the way it ended was amazing with the Q&A. Just Douglas saying, hey, this is serious, man. And it is, because we're literally dependent. We're freedom is dependent on moral individuals. So this is something at the forefront of my mind. It's motherfucker natural law. Like, motherfuckers don't even know what the fuck it is. And I'm still fucking learning about it, you know? Like, I know the basics. It's like, yeah, cause and effect, but it's still, hey, I need to fucking learn more. And these conferences is great because you you fucking learn from so many individuals, and then you have a whole tapestry of just amazing work. So, if anything, this was just like a huge ball of inspiration, and definitely gonna carry that with me going forward. And I still have to watch some presentations like James Cordener's and Tyler Bloyer's. I would really love to see what they have to say and rewatch the presentations. But yeah, just the sacrifice for sure was commendable. And yeah, I would love to help out and you know, behind the scenes, you know, and you know, put out some work myself on solipsism, because that's what I've been learning more about recently. But not to drag on, thank you so much, Chris, and all the organizers, because you definitely did a great job. And I'll pass it to you, Derek.
Cheers, gentlemen. And yeah, much respects to everyone that really came through and lent the free offerings that took a lot of time and effort and focus towards making these presentations. All the women came through, all the men, all the artists, all the comedians, the animators and musicians, of course. Yeah. Uh, uh, I've been elated sometimes, even like looking back on it still. And yeah, I'm thinking about ways it can motivate me to do more. And yeah, reflecting back, I was like, ooh, Derek, you could work on your speech a little bit more. Yeah, you could have had different cuts and edits and all that stuff. But I do like to show the human side of it and try to keep in mind that, hey, imagine if you're doing a presentation live and direct, you can't make those edits and all that stuff, you know? And yeah, I'm able to take the time and cut in all types of little images, text, and clips and whatnot, sprinkled across the type of videos that I like to make. And yeah, I keep saying I want to do a proper presentation, right? But I just sometimes you just want to stay in your element and bring about the best quality of a lot of those aspects that you've been kind of been used to bringing to the forefront, like a lot of other people in this conference. And yeah, I love the fact there are new faces and stuff, and just having that audience for them means a lot, I'm sure. And it means a lot to me as well, just the whole cross pollination of it, whether it be folks in network, possible potential collaborators, or just, new ears that are listening from, different kinds of crowds, or, audiences, if you will, and that kind of stuff, like where some of the folks that Derek Bros, is accustomed to having, where they peeping in a little bit, presence, and little things like that. Cynthia Soul, I'm thinking about as well. Um, Cat Waters, yeah. And so, yeah, it brings up the question for all the listeners out there of, does it make you want to do a presentation? It's always on my mind, like, what kind of if I was supposed to do, not supposed to, but if I wanted to, which I do, out of just the volition of the righteous indignation and the soul spark that I've had, when you really come online and activated in a awakened state. It's not always easy to maintain, but you know what I mean. Yeah, what topic, or what you have that burning passion about that you want to really speak on, and maybe go from there and kind of use that natty law moral compass to guide you, if you will. And you know someone could do something like Brandon Spencer do, like, and it doesn't have to be, because not everyone's got the the proper tech and setup and bandwidth and all that like Brandon does, but a 24/7 live stream, right? Well, I think everyone here loves a good little marathon, or you got to binge watch on something like, um, but not no Netflix or none of that shit. We're talking about, presentations, like even, a Mark Passio Natural Law 9-hour seminar or something like that, that'll fill up your weekend with much to think about and consider and reflection. And hey, like, apply natural law to your life. Let's just not regurgitate or talk about it and, ho he hum, twiddle your thumb and whatever, right? Move that bum. Anyways, you know, I, I was thinking about doing just like a mock. For example, people can do this anytime they want. Like, all right, even pull presentations from funnel conferences, the Seed Conference. There's Confluence. There's the People's Reset in recent times, and so many others of just, or even just a proper Manly P. Hall lecture and things of that nature. You stack up a good dozen of those, you got like a 10-hour live stream if you want to do something like that. That could be a cool little thing, if folks don't have the means currently to do their own little conference and this and that. And yes, we've been organizing. This is all free online. It's not in person, right? So we're just going off donations, and we're so thankful for those who have donated in the past, whether this year, prior years, and all that, because it really does help. Because, geez, even like Restream is like $400 something just to keep your live stream thing running on an annual basis, and website costs and all these things, right? And we want to do more promotion, which is something that I feel Funnel and other conferences could find more ways to go about it. And I don't know about you guys, but marketing's never been my strong point, and this and that. And what I've learned, no matter how many subscribers I have on my end, can't seem to, at least I don't see it or feel it, I guess. But promoting, for weeks and weeks, like, hey, the conference is coming up, get ready, subscribe to that channel and all that stuff. I guess I don't get enough feedback from individuals, but not to stray away, because I mean, I've said a lot, being one of the co-hosts and all that, and being at the roundtables, which I really try to, hey, we got folks here for a limited time, and let them work their rhythm and rhyme, right? So yeah, or Chris, yeah, what we, Leslie, Chris, and I, sometimes we weren't sitting down the whole time. We were, hovering around our computers. We got some stretches in, lifting some weights, exercising a little bit, so that was cool. It's fun to do that, especially with other people, not just by yourself. Although, still the same effectiveness. But yeah, I know it's different when, what I just mentioned, if people are lacking some kind of motivation or that extra which happens to me too, like being invited to be presenting on a platform like Funnel, or if it was anywhere, like you want to bring out your best and you're showcasing your art of persuasion, presentation, expression, one's signature frequency, if you will. So yeah, I definitely felt that with the people who were invited to be presented. That it's really, bringing their A game, to cut it short, because yeah, it's really taking on that challenge. I really go through it, going, trying to feel into the, what I'm gonna say, and mentally map out all that stuff. So I guess in conclusion, since I didn't have enough time in my other presentation, I will end with a small little piece to give a little extra spark, to kind of add an exclamation point for tonight's chat. Appreciate everyone's presence. So yeah, let's take a flight to new heights, test our might, illuminate our inner light, keep your soul control, not tight. Act in love, not spite, but at least stand up and fight for your rights and ignite your first and third eyesights. Cheers.
Thanks, Derek. Poetry at the end there. I'm battling some internet issues over here, but I managed to get back in with my phone. So I just thought I'd close up by saying, I really feel like, kind of like Brandon said with Tyler Bloyer's presentation, we're headed towards a dark future real quick if humans don't grab a hold of their rights and find some kind of agreement, consensus on what right even means. Our world can very quickly become so mechanized that we're basically living in slavery to the AI robots, and it feels like that's just around the corner. And so it's like I feel like these type of conferences and discussions are like symbolically the war cry of, or better than a war cry is not even a fair word. It's more like the right of Paul Revere. Maybe that story is romanticized, but it basically means that okay, there's enemies on the hills, there's enemies afoot, they're coming towards us. They want to own our choices. If we don't rally together, if we don't, ride up and down the street as fast as we can in the middle of the night to get everybody's attention before the time's out, we're going to be overrun. And so the main heart of the message is that all forms of mind control, like government, like institutionalized religion, are forms of destroying choices and destroying freedom for all people. And so we're encouraging you, the listener, to hear that cry of all these people saying, we need your help. We need to work together. We need to get this understanding clear and spelled out so that future humans are not slaves to robots, and among other slaves to each other. That's no good either, but it can be even worse is what I'm getting at. And seems like the time's running out. So that's all about I thought I'd say. Anybody else want to say a last word, say goodbye to our audience? If not, thanks for coming, and one great work warriors out. We'll see you guys next time. This is the End Evil podcast, where we speak raw truth. The aim is to impress you about the value of your time on this planet, to shine a light on the most important truth that has been obscured for too long, to give you the information and knowledge necessary to make true change, to move human experience away from suffering and grief and towards love and joy. Let's begin to work towards the end of all evil. Every week, we dig into natural law, trauma programming, and the mechanisms of societal control. We replace ignorance with knowledge, fear with courage, and apathy with action. As Jeremy Locke said, evil is the destruction of freedom. Go to endevil.life